everybody. Welcome back to the Obsessed with Pickleball podcast. I'm Jane. I'm obsessed with pickleball, and I'm so excited because today I have a very special guest, Maggie Remynse. If you've been watching pickleball for a while, you know she is a former pro pickleball player, was part of the OG MLP times, like a big player in that, had some, you were like you had a lot of storylines back in MLP. Like you were part of some playoff contender teams, like back in the day when everyone was wearing the same shirts with different color sleeves. That was a fun time. And
yeah, it was definitely the early days of MLP when
the early days.
Yeah, like it was I mean, it's still a little bit like this, but every event there was new things, like new rules, like it was chaos. It was chaos in the best way though.
It was chaos in a very innocent way. You know, like everyone was still there for a good time because there wasn't this kind of money involved. So it was chaos. But the players, most people weren't full-time pickleball, right? So
So like at that time, a lot of people were like, it was like this turn of it. People were going full time. There were definitely more people than now that were like doing pickleball as like their, hobby or, part-time, secondary income. But yeah, I mean, like we were really like, we were just all like happy to be included, to be honest. Like it was like we were very like grateful for the opportunity. It was just a very different, I'm sure everybody's still grateful for the opportunity, but it's just a very different thing. Like MLP, like I got to the finals of one of the events my team did, and I think I made like $6,000, $7,000. And I was like, oh my God, that's like the most amount of money I've ever made in a pickleball event, that if now like people would like scoff at that. They're like, like that's it. And I'm like, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Like, that was like life-changing. It was like such a huge deal.
When they upped it to $100,000 for a team to win, I remember that so specifically, and everyone got their $25K, and it was like the biggest deal. I feel like that was like a turning point moment when it was like, oh, money's going to start coming. So
yeah, I mean, MLP totally like raised the bar with that. I know that people on the PPA tour were already making good money, like some of them better than others, but like, I think even that like $25,000 a person prize money, even the PPA had to react in some capacity and like kind of match that. And I mean, that kicked off tour wars to an extent.
And anyone could get it. Like anyone could win that money. It wasn't just the top players winning that money.
Yeah, well, it's so different then too, because you had the snake draft, and so it was just very like, and there wasn't, I will say also, they're really, at that time, they're just, because of the infancy still of the sport, even though it was only a handful of years ago, there was only, like, there really wasn't a huge, like, the biggest difference between, like, the first person drafted and the 24th person drafted per gender. Like, there was a difference, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't, like, so drastic. Whereas I think now because the money involved, like there actually is just such, and because people are all competing at they're all playing full time, there is a huge difference now between that like first person to like last person per gender, we'll say. And also the snake draft just was an equalizer. Like it really is, because you have, in theory, the top player or top person in a gender playing with like the weakest person in a gender, and it just like really balanced out the field. Like you certainly you did a little bit, but did not see the blowouts that you saw like last year, as an example, in MLP. Like last year,
100%.
There were very few surprise like match like stories there. It was very run of the mill, to be expected.
Yeah, when it was the snake draft, it was really about who's really good at two things: drafting, like having their finger on the pulse. I remember BLQK won that year 2 out of 3 times or something because they drafted Paris Todd. Because they drafted Paris Todd before everyone knew how good she was. So then their second player could have been a first round. I just remember that very specifically. And And then, yeah, that's why when they were about, like, MLP was all about energy then. That's what everyone said. And that's still true in MLP. I think it's more about chemistry than energy now. But now it's just about who wants to spend the most money. Like, that's what it really comes down to. If you're going to spend the money, you're going to have the best team.
Yeah, it makes it tough because like there's such a huge difference in like the financial capabilities of different teams, you know? A lot of the initial and the original MLP teams, like they weren't billionaires, you know? They're people with money, but they're not like people with like just buckets of cash that they can just throw at this sport. And that's why a lot of those, a good handful of those initial teams have been sold off or combined because they financially just can't keep up. And so you definitely see that now with who can spend the money. And it has created obviously a handful of super teams in comparison to some of the other teams which just haven't been able to spend the money. And it'll be really interesting now this year with Challenger being included, like how will those teams fare, because they also are mostly keeping this, they have the same players that they did last year. So it's and some of those teams were like not great in Challenger even last year. So there's certainly, it'll be interesting. There's certainly a massive level difference from the top to the bottom, but I still love MLP and I'll still watch every single match.
Of course. Okay, so I want to talk more about MLP and this weekend's tournament, but anyone who's like tapped into the pro pickleball world, like knows who you are, knows your takes, follows you on X, all of that stuff. But for the casual listener who's just started listening, or maybe just listens because they're like my friend, introduce yourself, give us just like a quick little backstory so that people can get caught up on who you are.
Yeah, sure. So I have been playing pickleball for much longer than most people who have ever even heard of pickleball. Like I started playing pickleball back in 2017. If you do follow pro pickleball, my sister is Andrea Coop, so you might know her. She still plays on the tour. And I started playing pro pickleball back in 2018. So there were just like a handful of us. It was like Tyson and Ben Johns and Catherine Parento and like my sister and like Simone Jardim, if you've heard of Simone, and just like a handful of us. And it was really like that. Corinne Carr. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Corinne and Irina and Lucy Kovalova, like, Matt Wright, like truly, like there was just a handful of us that played for probably like 2-3 straight years where it was just kind of us. Like maybe one person got added every single year to the game. And then all of a sudden, back in 2020, 2021, all these people found pickleball. And so I got lucky enough to just be in that initial group of players. So for several years, I got to play against the best and some of the people who are still the best in the world, and got to have a lot of fun. Medaled, got bronze in the US Open back when the US Open was like a huge event. Got to play the initial MLP and ended up stopping, or I don't even know if I've ever officially retired, but kind of retired from pro pickleball back in 2023 when my son was born, but am still an obsessed junkie of pickleball. I love to watch pickleball. I love to talk about pickleball and share my sometimes probably controversial takes of pickleball. And I'm so happy that I found this sport. I'm sure that most people who listen to this podcast feel the exact same way, that we are all obsessed with pickleball.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like, I would say if you listen to this podcast, it's like it's very, very niche. Like it's a small sample size, and everyone who is listening is obsessed with pickleball. That's why I was like, I think most people know you, but I do also think I have people who are just listening because they're my friends. They just started playing pickleball and they're like enamored by the drama because they can't even believe that it exists when we've been following it for years. Like there was drama even before the tour wars that was fun to watch. And so yeah, but now people are like, what is this? Like, I know.
Okay, yeah, there's so much drama.
There's so much drama. So before I quit, I was in entertainment for a long time, and I was working at this production company, and it was before the tour wars. It was right when Tom Dundon bought the PPA, and I went to my boss because we were always developing projects. We had some documentary series in development. I was like, this is it. They're like, what? No. I'm like, trust me. I made this whole deck. I'm like, these are the players. These are the characters. Like, money is about to flood this sport. And there is like a thesis there of what happens to a sport when money gets involved. Like, how do things change? And I was like, it's about the players. You follow the players and see how the sport, like the evolution of the sport. And she was like, no one cares about pickleball. And I'm like, just listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. And then I don't even know. Then once everything started happening, I'm like, oh, have you heard of the tour wars? Oh, have you heard now there's steroid accusations? Oh, have you heard now like blah, 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 blah. And I had already quit by then. But in the back of my mind, I was like, told you, just listen to me and everything would be great. But what can
It's
I
so
say?
true. It's so true. Like, you know, when I started playing back in 2017, like I could not imagine that pickleball is where it is right now. And it truly is. Like, people will say the pandemic sucked for lots of reasons, but I will say that like pickleball, the pandemic is like the catalyst. If without the pandemic, I don't think we'd be where we are today with pickleball. And certainly the money wouldn't be where it is. We wouldn't have all of the different players that are currently playing the sport that are like just changing the sport daily. It just, like when I started playing, there were people who played full time, but it was like they played full time, then they, were director of pickleball at a club, or they traveled,
Right.
and did lots of clinics and camps and stuff like that. And that's an appealing lifestyle for some people, but it's certainly not an appealing lifestyle for everybody. And without the money being where it is right now, like you just wouldn't be able to have like all these different people being able to commit to playing this sport. It would like, when I started playing pro pickleball meant like you were playing like 6 events a year and you were like vying for like $2,000, like,
Which is crazy because now like Moneyball tournaments like down the street at the facility, these people are making for one tournament $1,000 each, right? So, and that's just to go play a 1-day tournament amongst other like semi-pro players in the area. I could enter that. I wouldn't win, but like I could just sign up and just go play. You know what I mean? Like, and they're getting $1,000. So the idea that like the pro players are, I think I saw like a photo recently of like Matt and Lucy holding up a gigantic check, and it was for like $500. And I was like, that back in the day was so legit. Now it costs $200 to enter the tournaments.
Yeah, like I said, I got bronze at the US Open in women's doubles. I got $750 and I was thrilled. Now, you have to also remember this is 2018. It was in Naples. I was living in Buffalo, New York at the time. It cost me like probably like $150 for my flight, and I had housing for the week, and I like split a rental car, so I was probably still like up for the week, but still like it was like $750, and I was like so excited about that. And it really was like that. I mean, 2 weeks before the pandemic, I played like a couple tournaments in Toronto, Canada with Steve Deacon and one of my other siblings who play pickleball. And like we got like $300 each for like winning those events. And it was like, we were like, oh gosh, this is great, like all in a day's work. But like literally over the weekend here in Jersey, I have a friend who played a 1-point tournament and won $10,000. It was like you had to like every match was 1 point, and he won he and his partner won 10K, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's like insane.
Crazy.
Like like I remember in 2019, I think it was like the weekend before my wedding, so I couldn't play it. But like the top players, I think the top like 8 men and the top 8 women at the time got invited to Chicken and Pickle in Kansas City to play like a I don't even know, like some kind of event. Basically, it was only the top players got invited, and like the grand prize for winning it was like $10,000
That's
per
good.
event. Yeah, like that was wild because that was like double, triple what you would make any other tournament if you like got gold, like any other event. So it's just, I could talk about like the historics here forever.
I went to the last US Open that was before they were like PPA players can't go to the US Open. I feel like I went to like the last hurrah. So people, I don't think know like how big the US Open was.
It was
the
huge.
last time Simone and Ben played together. I like remember it so specifically, and they hugged after, and I was like, people don't know the significance of this moment. but I do. Oh, how times have changed. This weekend, Mesa, a good example of that. That center court is crazy. Mesa is a real tentpole tournament where I don't know if it was the same facility, but like the Mesa tournament's always a huge one. And this weekend was fun. Lots of storylines. I guess we can start with Hayden and Anna Bright finally beating Anna Leigh Waters and Ben Johns in what looked like kind of easy. Like,
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
they really like took it to them, and kudos to them, because I think that it was long overdue. Like, I don't think anybody is surprised that they finally won. I'll be surprised, I'll say, if they have the same storyline like every single weekend, or like the same like score line going forward. Both of them have the like they have the secret sauce, we'll say, to beat any team, the mentality that is there. They obviously have the skill. It's not surprising. And interestingly, obviously, Anna Leigh and Ben have not had as much success in Arizona, or in Mesa. Like, that's been their kryptonite,
right.
like, location. But it's also, I mean, I will say, like, just even from my own experience of playing from like one location to the next, like going from like warm, humid Florida to dry Arizona, that is definitely a shift in like playing conditions for sure. I mean, to be honest, like I said, I'm not surprised at all. Like, and just he came out and he was like, I'm not gonna miss.
No, I'm
I'm
not
just
gonna
gonna
miss.
like murder
I'm
you
gonna be
guys
crazy.
here.
Yeah. Interesting thing though. Last time that Ben Johns was in the gold medal match for singles, I can't remember where, he also lost with Anna Leigh. Because I
Oh, really?
specifically remember being like, he either lost men's or he lost mixed doubles. Because I remember, like, are we ever going to see a Ben Johns Triple Crown again? And I remember he was in the gold medal match for at some final, and it was like this was his chance to Triple Crown. He hadn't had it in a while, and he lost either mixed or men's. I should have researched it before this, but I remember going into that day being like, Ben's going to lose one of these games, because it's a lot of pressure to try to get back to that place where he was Triple Crowning every single week. And I just like had this gut feeling. And when I saw that first game, I felt like I don't know, I just like got a vibe through the television and the hundreds of miles away we are that he was playing a little bit, he was having some more errors than usual. And I felt like playing a little bit more timid and not like as connected. And I was like, this is your chance, Ben. They purposely scheduled it so that the gold medal match was last. So that, like, I just know, like, how the PPA works. And I'm like, you can literally Triple Crown. And I didn't think he could beat Chris Hayworth just because of the different playing styles. Like, I'm not surprised that he can beat Fed. I'm not surprised that he can beat almost anyone else. But Chris Hayworth is so good. And I was like, they play so differently. You can't really, like, he's going to pass you. He's going to pass Ben. He's not going to do this cat and mouse. He's going to pass him. But I thought that was interesting that he loses on the day he has a chance to Triple Crown. But I mean, Anna and Hayden also didn't miss. And the more times you play a team, I'm not saying Hayden and Anna aren't as good as Ben and Anna Leigh, just maybe like, statistically over time. The more times you play a team that's better than you, the more you figure out how to beat them. So it was just a matter of time before they were able to beat them. Like, Anna Leigh can't speed up middle against Hayden and Anna the way she usually does, because like they know it's coming. The second she like gets low to speed up middle, Anna just is there for the counter because they know each other's game so well. But I am surprised that they did it so easily.
I agree with that, but I will say that, like, to me, it looked like Anna Leigh was forcing it a little bit. She was like, whether Ben was making more errors or not than normal, like, that's probably true. And I think Anna Leigh was trying to compensate more by, trying to do more. And honestly, like, it actually does work pretty well a lot of times for her. Like, she speeds up even down the line right at Hayden's like backhand, because he does sit middle so heavy.
That's a really good place for her to speed up. And the middle speed up usually works. Yeah.
Yeah. So she does a really good job there because she can go both places, and it makes you think. But Hayden was just on top of it, and like, she wasn't as effective with that. And like, also giving it to Anna Bright, like she did not make very many errors, I think that they are truly, I would say they're very, very close to just as good. I think the one difference has always been that like belief or that mentality. I know that Anna Bright and Hayden think that they can beat them, right? But like when you haven't done it, like, or you haven't done it very many times, it's a lot, like, to get over that hump, right? Like they made that, you saw all over Instagram, or even like them talking about it like last week. Anna Bright missed the third shot
Yes.
on match point, and then she hit the third shot lob yesterday, and
right, that
they're like,
third
ha ha
shot was
ha.
going over. Like,
Yeah,
it could have been
it's
the
like,
worst third in the history of the world, but it was getting over the net.
no, totally. But it's just like, like that is the type of stuff that winners just kind of do. They're like, you know what? Like, we've all done it where we've all hit the worst third ever, and you recover. You're like, you know what? I just have to make this. I have to give myself a chance. And the more that like this happens, like the more that they're putting themselves in the position to win, like I think that it's going to happen. I think, the like Anna Bright and Hayden are so similar to Ben and Annalie in their mentality to play other players or other teams too, and the fact that they don't like back down. I
Mhm.
think like those two teams have elevated the like mixed doubles. Like if you look at a lot of the other teams, they're still playing what I would consider like traditional mixed doubles to an extent, where the guy does all the offense or the majority of the offense, and the like woman does the majority of like the resets and like setting up the guy player. But like Annalie and Ben for so long have like both created so much offense, and that has been such a difference for them. And now, you see Hayden and Anna Bright doing the same, where Anna is really like able to take it to both like down the line at Ben or any
Mhm.
other guy, and comfortable, and I don't think a year ago she was as comfortable doing that. And
Totally.
that's a humongous difference. I think the only other female that I see doing that in mixed is Jorja. She will also take it to the guy player. Now, I will say JW maybe doesn't create as much offense as some of the other guys, and that's probably for them why they're having a little bit of a
A
struggle
little
right
bit.
now, is that
Mhm.
because, yeah, they
Yeah.
need to both be on that same page of creating offense and being willing to create offense. And that is a mentality. Like when I played, I certainly did not create offense like that. But that's also the difference.
I think Anna Bright and Annalie, when they play women's doubles, it is speed up everything. They can be 3 feet off the line and they're speeding up. They are just go, go, go. Don't let their opponents even breathe for a second. And I think Anna Bright did a really good job this week of like switching to a mixed doubles format where there were a lot more resets. Like if she was a few feet off the line, even if it seemed like something she could speed up, in against other players, she's like, that's Ben and Annalie on their side. I'm going to reset, get to the line. I'm going to reset, let Hayden do it. And I could see like she was just playing so smart and not missing and not setting herself up to, be attacked essentially. Like it was just smart decisions. And yeah, I think that's how they got it done. Hayden didn't miss and Anna was just also not missing, but like dictating, like making sure everything was nice and ready and no one was doing anything stupid.
Totally, but that's like the biggest difference, right? Is
Yes.
like a lot of times in mixed, you see people, or like you'll see people just resetting to reset, and it's like a kind of like a little bit of a loopy reset, and it gets down, it gets into the kitchen, but it still kind of sits a little.
Yeah, you
And
can't do that.
it's like the defensive reset, or the
Yes.
neutral resets. I think, like I said, like she's playing in an offensive mindset, and it's like an offensive reset. It's like you'll see
Yes.
that they kind of just come straight down. They don't come up. It's just like almost like, it's just a flat, almost like slice to an extent, and it just sits on the ground and it doesn't give opportunity. And then like I said, I mean, I think Annalie was forcing the issue because she was like not getting the balls that she was hoping to get. And Hayden, like, I
That's
mean,
always the
he
dynamic. Anytime Annalie loses with a partner is when she feels like she needs to do too much and then, yeah, she forces it. That's I think that is what happened when she was losing with Catherine too, is like if Catherine wasn't playing well or the other team was playing a lot better, she would force the issue. And yeah, just the reality.
Yeah,
So
certainly.
mixed doubles this weekend. I think it was definitely, we see that Hayden and Anna are definitely the number 2 team, no doubt. Catherine and Gabe, I don't know if they can get there. Jorja and J-Dub, Jorja, the last couple tournaments, or especially this week, I don't know if you feel this way or if I just feel this way because I'm sad about it and I love Jorja. But like I feel like she's lacking a little bit of her fire. And like, could it have to do with the fact that like she was just dropped from her team? And now she's playing with her 2 partners that are on the Flash. And like, I mean, that would be emotionally difficult for anyone.
Yeah, I didn't think of that angle. I do agree. I think she's not playing as well as we were seeing, especially the end of last year. To me, I was thinking like, is it a paddle thing? Like she was with the Franklin paddle for so long and now she's trying something different. Could, take a little bit because I feel like she's normally resets and like her like hands are so good and she's just making errors on balls that she normally wouldn't. I question the MLP thing. I feel like there's none of like I don't think Anna Bright got dropped or Jorja got dropped without them knowing, without them being in on it. Like I find it hard to believe. Like I would be shocked. Like now could it happen? Yeah, but I would be absolutely shocked if that was not like some planned something, like whether they're really like Dallas is really going to get Jorja back, who knows, or maybe Georgia's like, you know what, like I want to like spread my wings and do my own thing, like let me try out a different team, like get away from the comfort. I don't know,
that it's more likely that the higher ups at the UPA, well, I don't think they care, but
I do think
would be like, we can't have these same people playing with their partners at PPA. Like I was actually thinking about it and I was like, is this actually like what I've always said and what I always want? Like just because I love Jorja playing with her brother and Tyra so much and I just love the 3 of them, haven't I always been saying for years that it's super boring when you play with the same people on MLP and PPA? So if we don't break up the Flash and the Shock and the sliders, we're just going to have like the Shock can't lose in my mind. Like with seeing how Anna and Hayden are playing and then seeing how Gabe and Hayden play, I'm like, this team is so stacked, even more so than the Flash. And so I'm like all mad that they dropped Jorja when it's what I've been asking for this whole time. So I'm like, maybe they're like, we can't have a league if these teams keep hoarding the best players.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I guess it'll be interesting to see. But at the same time, like, I'll be honest, like, I think it would be the most boring team if either Jorja or Anna end up on the fives. I think that will be so boring. And but yeah, like you might be right. Like I really wouldn't be surprised if the PPA has their hand in it in some capacity, or UPA, because they definitely I think that they are keenly aware that the competitiveness of some of the other teams are not great. And so maybe they're trying to even the playing field just a little. Like there are certainly players who have drastically underperformed, and even teams like that have drastically underperformed in MLP. And maybe they're trying to start something new. I know obviously Columbus did really well last year, and like that was a bit of a shock to a lot of people. Maybe not to all of the people who like really follow pickleball at the high, but like I know that was maybe like the underdog story to an extent.
Now I'm just like, my conspiracy mind is going crazy. Like maybe Ben is like, listen, I'm Ben Johns. I'm crazy. I'm Ben Johns. Hey, Connor, I'm Ben Johns. I can't win a title in MLP again if these other teams are as stacked as they are. So you're going to need to break them up so the Mad Drops have a chance. Maybe.
I don't know. I would not put it past Ben to do that. I'm just going to say that. Like I would not put it past them in any capacity to do that. I don't think the Mad Drops have a chance anyway. Like I don't really have faith in Catherine on that team. Like, I really like,
they love her.
She's a great player. She's amazing, but like,
and they love her as a person.
Like, yeah, she's a great player. No, and they'd be silly to, because it's like they're there's still like such a big level from her to like other players, like such a huge difference. But I just don't see a her and Jade combination. Like,
So what about
truly.
this? Max Freeman starts performing. Ben and Max are a good team. He's a lefty. He lives up to the hype that existed around him for a few months. And Ben and Max become like a team you can't beat, a la Hayden and Gabe. Because there are not that many men's teams besides that team that are unbeatable. I mean, Augie and J-Dub couldn't win a game at the end. CJ and Andre are pretty good, but then you put them against Ben and Max with the lefties. Maybe that's evenly matched. Okay, so let's say that happens and the men can win most of their games. Now let's say Ben and Jade win, okay? Which Ben, you're Ben Johns.
I think that's very doable. I actually think they would be I think Ben and Jade would be a much better team than Catherine and Ben.
Well, they switched to that at the end of last season. Catherine
Maybe
and Ben
like the last match. Like, I
think like the last tournament or maybe the last tournament, they switched. Catherine and Max a lefty, that really helps Catherine. Maybe they have some upsets, and maybe Jade and Catherine can have some upsets, but they can win. Let's say they win 2 games at everyone. They win Ben's games. Now that he's not playing with Hunter, because that was a disaster. Now they bring in a women's singles specialist, a Jeannie, that some of these young people that are coming out and meeting everyone. So now they switch Jade out for singles. Now they have a pretty great Dream Breaker team. There's a chance.
I mean, like, you're definitely doing like the mental gymnastics to like get there for sure. I don't disagree. Like, there is a chance, and but there's also a lot of ifs, right? Like, Max has truly not performed. I mean, like, I think he was like self-proclaimed to be like the next best thing, and he's had some moments of greatness, we'll say, but definitely has like not performed like, you know, exceptionally well consistently. And so, but I mean, like, I think them as a team, like Ben with Max is going to probably be a good team no matter what, you know. That'll be a good team. Like, I do think Jade and Catherine will win a lot of matches. Like, they're going to win all the matches that they should, you know, but in here, we have a lot of snow.
I mean, do you think Jade and Catherine have a chance? Okay, so let's say the Sliders take Leigh back. Let's say Leigh's there with Paris. I'm just talking about them because they're the championship team. Do Jade and Catherine have a chance against Leigh and Paris? I say yes.
Yeah, and I think they have a chance against a lot of the teams. I just think, like, you know, depending on who's with Leigh, like, I would say maybe not, you know, depending on that one.
Depending on, only have a chance if the Shock and the Flash get dissolved and Leigh doesn't get one of those 2 partners.
I do think that, like, they still have a chance if, so say Anna Bright goes back to the Shock, like, I think they have a chance against them because Kate, while she's very good, she's still a little inconsistent in women's doubles, and I think Anna Bright's overplays sometimes in that combination. Now, obviously, it's going to be 6 months later, like from the last match, and people learn and figure things out. But yeah, I think sometimes she overplays there, and Kate gets a little maybe squeezed and makes more errors because she feels squeezed on that. So, like, I mean, like, I think they certainly have a lot of chances and stuff, but like neither Catherine or Jade are really like the offense. And I think to truly beat one of the top combination teams, like, you need that offense. And like, totally. I don't really see either of them being like the true offense of the team. They're both never going to make an error, like, you know, but right. I think you need a little bit more than that right now. Now, like, they will definitely, I would say they're not going to lose every single match to all those teams, like those top teams. Like, they're going to win some of those matches, but I think they'll be like potentially the underdog in a lot of them.
Yeah, we'll see. Back to PPA, back to mixed doubles. The last question I have is, what do we think about that match between Christian Alshon and Rachel Rohrabacher and Andre Descu and Hurricane Tyra Black? Tyra definitely played her best in that match. She was revved up, and I always thought Tyra and Andre would be a better team than Rachel and Christian. What did you think?
I'm not surprised by the outcome of the match. Like, I really am not. I think, you know, like, Tyra just is not afraid on the court, right? Like she's not afraid of going toe to toe with Christian. I think it also helps her that she played with him for so long. She knows his game. Like she knows like what to expect out there. And she also, like, Andre gives her a little bit more breathing room, so she's able to play a little bit more freely than sometimes I think that she felt with Christian. And with that, like, Rachel was so far off the court, like she was so far back all the time, and like she played well, I'll say, but like if that's tough, like to feel when
That's
you're
really
like
tough.
pushed back, and like especially I wouldn't say Christian played poorly, but he definitely made more errors because he was trying
She
to do
played
so
really
much.
well when she was playing with Will. I remember specifically even their first tournament being like, Rachel is like a mixed doubles menace, but she was given a lot more room to play than she was with Christian. Like now that you're bringing it up, that's totally true. But do you think that Tyra and Andre can be a team that beats Ben and Annalie eventually? Or even Hayden and Anna? Now we have to put it into that context, right? Can they win a gold medal this year?
I think they can, but I think that they still have a little bit of work to do, in the short term. I think both of them are just as good when you're going like toe to toe with like power and like offensive positioning, but their dinking, sometimes both of them can be a little bit like that can be their weaker part of their game for both of them. And like you really have to be able to like dink for literally ever. Not that they
Yeah,
can't, but
forever and
like
ever.
even just like the slightest bit high, like which isn't even high to like the average to
No.
99.9% of us out there, but like anything that's even just slightly high is obviously like can be a
Yeah,
negative. And like Tyra's forehand dink is her weaker shot, and it's clearly so much improved. But
totally.
I think that right there, like if she can like even improve it just slightly bit more, it to be able to move around the court a little bit. Like she slices so much because she has so much different spins. Like if she can just do that just slightly better, like I could see it for sure. But I would
Yeah.
say like that's a second half of the year thing in my opinion.
We don't talk about Ben stinking as much anymore as we used to, but Ben is the best stinker like to ever exist in this sport because he doesn't miss and he can go to all different like he's
Yeah.
just so smart about it. And this used to be a big topic of conversation before like the new paddles when men's doubles was still like you had to just dink all the time. And like back when he was playing with Colin and they were playing J-Dub and Dylan or they were playing Matt and Riley, you just don't want to dink with Ben. And now that's kind of like evened out, but yeah, like he's crazy good at dinking.
Well, the
Men's
Ben thing
doubles,
is like he just adds so much to his game. Like he didn't a year ago, he wasn't hitting a two-handed backhand. Now he's like
yeah,
hitting a two-handed backhand better than a lot of the people who've been hitting that two-handed backhand. So it's just his ability to also and his willingness, we'll say, to add like things to his game and to like continue to improve. That is unmatched in my opinion.
I mean, he has to. He has to.
Yeah, but like
Like
if you
he
look at some
has
of the
to.
other players, they haven't been able to evolve quite as if I think about J Dub, like he's trying to add the two-handed
Right.
backhand and trying to improve, but he's just hasn't been able to do it as effectively yet. I'm sure he's working his butt off, like no doubt. But Ben is just like I think his ability to add stuff to his game is there's only a few players that, can successfully do that in like a reasonable amount of time.
So Ben and Gabe are what do you think about the switches between the Christian and Andre swip swap with Fed and Hayden? And do we think that that's going to end up working out in terms of the ability to beat Ben and Gabe? I still find those two partnerships to feel off.
I think you're right, but I will say that I think that Hayden and Christian have a better chance to, at least like as it stands right now, to beat like Gabe and Ben. I don't see. I think Fed is still a bit uncomfortable on the right. His drop has been really inconsistent. It's been really high in the last couple of tournaments. could they do it? Probably. But like, I think that, I don't see it right now. I think like the hard thing for what I would say the biggest challenge, in my opinion, for Hayden and Christian is honestly that they are both such alpha players and they don't know when to like let the other person maybe take the ball yet. Like that's
Well, yeah, like when they were so close to winning and then they clanked paddles in the middle to lose that match. That's just
in
like exactly what
Minnesota,
you're
like
saying.
in
Yeah.
Minnesota, you mean? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
totally. Like, and that'll get better,
That'll get
like that
better.
will definitely that'll get better. But like, it's interesting because like Christian could definitely play the left side of the court, obviously, and he plays the right, and he's such an overly offensive player in mixed doubles, and then to go to men's doubles and have to tone that down. I think that is like a challenge there. I will say, like, I would love to see an Andre and Hayden partnership because I think that like that would be a really interesting partnership right there.
Yeah.
I think that both of them have the mentality to beat Ben and Gabe. I think not that Fed and Christian don't, but they definitely get nervous more often.
Yes.
Like they get
Yeah.
tight, and I think Andre and Hayden both play a lot more freely, no matter what.
That's
So
why Andre plays so well with Gabe. Like Gabe doesn't get nervous. I don't even know. Like he might get
he's like very robotic, right?
or like spaced out. Like some days you're like, is he like he needs to get focused? But I don't ever see it as being nervous.
Yeah.
You're totally right on that. And I think Christian chose to be a right side player because at the time that he was coming up, there were so many strong. I remember somebody talking about this on a podcast. Like, it is smart to learn how to be a right side man because there's so few of them. Like, all the dudes want to play left, right? So there's so few people playing right that if you play right, you can get better partner and go farther. And I think he made that choice when it may not make the most sense for him to play right. And maybe eventually, I mean, I think it might be too far down the line, but Hayden did play right with Fed and they did win a lot. So maybe it's worth trying it the other way. It is interesting when you're someone as large as Christian for them not to play the left. Because you think about Andre and Hayden, it's like, would Hayden play the left with Andre? These guys are massive. They're so tall. They can get so many balls. So I think that's why the whole situation, I don't know, it's a little messy with the left and right, but I agree with you. Like, it must be really hard to go from mixed doubles to, but then what am I saying? The women do it every time. Like,
yeah, I mean, Hayden defies physics. He's like not, the biggest guy on court, by any stretch, but he covers the court so incredibly well. So it's like,
100%.
I would be interested to see if they unstack, like if they just play straight up. Like,
yeah, it's not like whether
go?
Hayden would be better on the right or the left, or that Hayden's not as good on the left.
But no, he's great.
But it's like, does Christian need to be on the left to play his best? And then Hayden can play as good on the right? I don't know. I think ultimately they all just need to get better chemistry and then they'll start winning. It's like with Anna and Hayden, their chemistry has always been good, but now it's like they can both elevate their games and their chemistry is on. They had the chemistry. They both keep getting better. And then now they can win. Actually, something really interesting I was thinking about Anna Bright the other day. She was talking about when she started playing pickleball, and she started playing pickleball 4 years ago. And now she's, I think, getting really close to Anna Leigh. And I remember I went to a clinic of hers years ago, maybe 3 years ago, maybe right after. And she was talking about how, Anna Leigh has been playing for so long and she's just started and like she's just working to get there. And it's kind of like an inspiring lesson for us all to remember is like, it takes a long time to get better at something. And I think it's hard to imagine, like 4 years is such a long time. It's like, you just have to really think of this something you want and dedicate 4 years of work to get there. You just have to like believe that you can do it. And I don't know if a lot of players, I think they might get discouraged. Like, I'll never get to be as good as Anna Leigh, so why am I trying? I don't know. I think that's like a vibe I'm sure a lot of people have with Anna Leigh being in the mix.
No, I mean, totally. Like, it takes a lot of work. Like, there's, they call, or they say in pickleball, like it's an easy sport to learn, but it's a very difficult sport to master. Yeah. And, the top players are out there playing and practicing like so much, you know.
Multiple
They
times a
are,
day.
yeah, like they're drilling, they're playing live points, like they're doing all of the things. And, you know, not, I would imagine that not every single player, even the top pros, are committed in the same capacity. And you know, so that takes a, you know, a big toll. Like if you're not out there playing, I like that many hours. Like I saw this reel the other day on Instagram from a person who played like very high level tennis growing up, like was like top collegiate player, but he didn't go pro in tennis. And he was like, he's like, I'm like best friends with like Taylor Fritz and Tiafo and Tommy Paul and all these players. And he's like, and I was just as good as they were growing up. He's like through 12s, through 14s, whatever, like I was beating them in like nationals. Like I was doing all the things. And he's like, but we separated at some point. He's like, because I was not homeschooled. He's like, I wasn't going to do that. Wasn't going to give up my childhood. He's like, these guys went like continued to play 4 to 6 hours a day, you know, and I played, you know, 2 hours a day. He's like, and now if you think about it, like if they're playing double what I am, multiply that by years, like of course they're going to be much better. He's like, I think I had more talent than some of these players. He's like, but like they had a better work ethic than me. And I'm like, you know what, that is so true. Like I was a good tennis player, but I wasn't as good as my older sister because I didn't put as many hours. And I put a lot of hours in, but I didn't put 60 hours a week as a 12-year-old into it.
I mean, that's a crazy decision to make at 12, but I guess what people are making it.
I mean, it totally is. But like, you know, Anna Leigh has been homeschooled playing. Well, I think she was homeschooled before she started playing pickleball anyway. But like, you know, she's been playing pickleball probably.
She's been playing professional pickleball since she was like walking.
Oh yeah, I played her in her first professional match. My sister and I did.
Crazy.
We were playing together, and we were or not match, but like tournament. And yeah, like she and Leigh like smoked us because we were not expecting them to come out and just blasting balls. I think we ended up winning this was back in double bat, or you know, when you came back from you had the 2 chances. I think we won in the next match, like, but like it was so unexpected. But yeah, this is back when she was like 12 years old.
Kids, it's very difficult to play kids. We've all been in that situation in tournaments where you get to the court and you're like, are you 8? Like the 8 plus and then the 35 plus. So you're like, am I playing an 8-year-old? And then somehow they beat you, even though they can barely hold the paddle. And you're like,
literally killed us. She was so good. Like she was so good. And like immediately, like, you know, it was not like she just beat us. She beat a lot of other players. And, you know, so I was, you know, we were initially a bit sad about it, but I'm like, in retrospect, and I'm like, look, like I got at least one match off of Anna Leigh in my life. Like
take it.
Might have been when she was 12, but
there's this girl who plays in LA now who's 12 and she smokes everyone in all the 4 or 5 tournaments that she plays. And these young people are coming up and they're just gonna like, we're all obsolete. Like there's nothing you can do.
It's crazy. Some of these kids are like, I mean, I'm all about it. So I'm so all about it. Like I see them on like, I see like the reels get posted or whatever on my like For You page. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, these kids are like
crazy.
Are so good. I'm so excited to see what it's like in, you know, 5 or 10 years, because these kids are growing up playing pickleball and their skill is just going to be so much different. Because they're, you know, we all, I want to say all of us, but like a lot of us who came from tennis, like came from a very different background. And so just like my wrists only move in a certain way.
Yeah. They're all, you know, they're all like backhand roll dinks. They're lobbing constantly. Like it's just crazy play out there, but
it's so fun. So different. It's so cool. Yeah. Love it.
Anna Leigh and Anna Bright, can they be beaten at this point? Tyra and Jorja are going to have to turn it around.
Yeah. Tyra and Jorja are not playing well right now for them. You know, obviously was it the first tournament of the year in California where they had like the lead in game 3 and they like could have done it and they got a bit tight and like lost it. You know, like they have not looked like the team that started that match, you know, in a couple months now. And so I think they can, but like I said, I I think that Jorja's making more errors right now than she has. Like whether it's the confidence
Her
because
jinx are high.
like she and JW are not playing that well in mixed right now. And then she's losing hand battles that she just doesn't normally lose. And so like, that's just, everybody goes through ebbs and flows of like stuff like that. And I think I would say Tyra's decision making is a little bit weird right now. Some of the
I agree.
choices,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not sure why you chose that one, but I think they'll get it back. I don't like, it's interesting because like obviously everybody had the same conversation or the same thought like last year when the Annas paired up back in like early summer. We were all like, oh my gosh, they're never going to lose. And they did. They lost. And they lost two in a row, I think. And so, I wouldn't count the rest of the field out for sure. I think that they will. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose this year, but like the way the field stands, like, I mean, there is just truly such a big difference. I think that I would be shocked if we see Rachel and Catherine continue for the long haul. It's neither one of them have really played well together. And but it's like also like who else
are they going to play with? That's what I keep thinking about is when I saw Catherine and Rachel get together, I was super excited. I love them both, but they've both spent years playing second fiddle to a dominant left side. So which one of them is going to be the more dominant one? Because either they both have to, like Anna and Anna, or one of them has to play left and be like a Jorja and Tyra. Like Jorja lets Tyra take the middle and lets her be more back and forth and then does her job really well. So then I think to myself, I'm like, okay, who are they going to play with? Like, who are the other dominant left side women besides Tyra, Anna, and Anna Bright? Like, who is that other person that one of them could play with? Like, who can Rachel play with? That
I think that like I personally I see like a little bit of technique issue with Rachel, which holds her back. Like she takes humongous swings.
Yeah.
Like her swings are really big, and she can get away with it a bit in mixed because she plays so far off the line, but in women's the ball just comes back too quickly. And I think that is an inhibitor for her no matter who she plays with. So unless she gets rid of the like full swing where it's above her head almost every forehand, like that's going to be a struggle no matter what. But obviously like other women, there are so many good players, but they're just not as consistent. They don't consistently like perform week in and week out. And so I don't think I'd be shocked if we see Tyra and Jorja break up at all. Maybe they'll play the mat like a tournament or two with other players just to like mix things up. I do think Jorja can play left. Like I just don't think she does, like I think she'd be more than capable of playing left and being super offensive and dominant on that side if she chose to do that.
She just has to practice it. Like she just hasn't done it in so long.
Yeah, like but I don't think she'd have an issue with it. Like I think she could just very easily like step into that role. It might take a tournament or two to like dust off the cobwebs. Maybe but I'd be shocked if she doesn't even. I would be really surprised if she doesn't play left in practice a lot. Like she probably plays straight up in practice and does a little bit of everything. But even so, like Tyra is not as comfortable on the right, so I wouldn't see that working quite as well if she were to switch to the left. And
it couldn't be with Tyra. It couldn't be with Tyra.
I still just don't see Rachel or Catherine being the successful right player because I think like you mentioned, both of them have like just gotten used to a different style of play, and like they both play a little bit off the kitchen, and like that's just to beat Leigh and Anna Bright, you just cannot play off the kitchen every single point. Like you've got to be up there to like counter at the kitchen. To be honest, like I could imagine if Jorja decided to switch to left and like figured it out, I could see a Jackie Kawamoto being a great right side player to her.
Jackie plays left.
Yeah, but she plays both. Like she'll play both. Like, and Jackie doesn't have any issue taking it to people, and she can dink for the rest of her life, and never make an error. So I could imagine that would be a combination, or could be a combination. Even like Jackie on the left with Jorja on the right, I think could be an interesting combination right there, because yeah, like she just doesn't miss. And she also is more than capable of going toe to toe with both Annas in that position.
Totally. I think Jackie and Jade last year, I think they are both good enough in theory to team up with one of these other people and be a huge asset to that person. Like, I think if she played with Catherine, if she played with Rachel, she might be the stronger one on that court. But then they both realized, okay, but we have our best results together. So it's like, even though we could be the partner to all these other women, we do the best when we're together. So let's just play together.
I think the hard thing is that Jackie and Jade both work still. Like, they work with NCAA. You know, I don't blame these players because for not playing with them. But like, they want somebody that they can play with as a consistently and as a team and duo and grow together. It is difficult to play one tournament with one person and one with the other, and you know, switching around a lot. And I have a feeling that Jade and Jackie wouldn't play together every tournament if they were playing every single event.
That makes sense. Okay, so do you think there's any players right now, beginning of the year, season just started, that are going to surprise us by the end of the year? I personally am having super high, out of this world hopes for Kay Fahey, because she's still new enough that I think she can still improve to be a lot better by the end of the year. Anyone that you think? I mean, I guess I could think of boys too.
You know, I will be interested in what Paris does. We didn't even mention Paris playing with any of the other players. I do think Paris is a player that can go toe-to-toe with the Annas when she's at her best. She's inconsistent, and that's been the challenge. She's been inconsistent.
I think when she plays with people, they can't figure out. I think she wants to be more alpha. Like, she used to be right side, that backhand, and then she started playing straight up, and then a lot of times she started playing left. And I don't think she's gotten to the point of the Annas or Tyra in her aggressiveness and her consistency and her power.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think she could be there. And so I'll be interested to see, like, if she does. I think Kate in mixed, I'm interested to see how she does in mixed. I am a little less pro Kate in women's doubles right now. I just think she's not as consistent right there yet still. And I think that she hasn't found her place yet on the court. Like, she's played right, she's played left, she's played a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And like, I don't know if she's found her like her game style in women's doubles. And I think some of that is also playing with Anna Bright. Like, Anna like is able to take control of the point in the court, and great to get to like play and have those successes. But I think it's also like I think that's like been an inhibitor for her growth.
That's what I'm saying about Rachel and Catherine. Like, they're a little bit inhibited from years of those other players.
100%.
Paris retiring from singles might actually help her get her doubles game. Like, now she has more time to work on her doubles game. So maybe what you're saying is true, and that she'll be able to improve in that lane and get to be one of those players that makes a difference. So
yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see like what is it? Yora? Like, is that how you say her name? Like, I'm excited to see how she does. Like, obviously she's done great in singles already, but I think that we've seen it in a lot of these other players who have like done really well in singles, and then that like confidence just starts to carry into doubles. And I wouldn't be surprised like if she gets drafted to a pretty decent team. She gets great practice with players, and you know, you just start seeing her do well, is you know, in women's. I think it's harder to break through in mixed unless you're getting a top male partner. But I think like in women's I think in women's, you know, you could see her getting, you know, just like some early confidence and early wins. So I'm excited to see her, especially because she's so young too. Gosh, you know, we had a lot of women entering for a couple years in a row, right? You had like Anna Bright coming in, then you had Tyra, and then you did have Kate, and you had Rachel, and like, so you had like a I'll say a top 10-ish player every year for a handful of years, but like, we didn't really have anybody last year that I can like really pinpoint.
Right.
And I don't
win Breakout Star or something. Somebody won Breakout Star. I'm like, that person has been in the league for 2 years.
She might have. Honestly, I don't really pay attention to those awards.
Transitioning to MLP, with all of these new players coming in, Dave Fleming is constantly talking about how, when we're watching PPA, we should be looking at all these young people, how they're going to get drafted on a team and it's going to be such great practice for them and such great exposure. Do you think teams are thinking years down the line? Like, do you think that they are drafting people now being like, okay, we might not be good this year, but I'm investing this player for how good she's going to be in a couple years? Or is it not even worth thinking years down the line because the rules are constantly changing? I don't know.
No, I mean, I do think people or teams are thinking down the line for sure. Like I think absolutely that they are. I think Sophia is a great example of that because she's already a really she's
I was gonna say, I think she's already there.
She's already an amazing player on the APP tour. But like there is a level difference. I think she's going to be a top singles player on the PPA today if she wanted to play, if she could play. But like I would be, I think that doubles and that mixed doubles, like the level is just a step up. And so, so I think like her, that's like an investment player. Like they're expecting her to like just get better.
But there's also not that many women for them to have chosen. So they got her essentially for free, right?
No, absolutely. They got but I think also, they could have dropped her and tried to trade for somebody, they could be trying to get somebody else too, So I think that she is definitely an investment player. I think that some of these singles players that get picked up, like I wouldn't be surprised if Kiora got picked up as like a doubles, like as like a full team player, but like she might be still a little bit green there, but like getting picked up as a singles player even will be super interesting there. I'm very excited for that. I remember even like a couple years ago, before maybe like modern MLP, I did a mock draft with a few of the teams that exist today, to help them practice for the draft. And this is before like anybody ended up on the Shock or the Fives or whatever. It was like kind of pre that. And I remember I drafted Christian Alshon on my team, and they were like, were you there? I don't know. You might have been. And I remember like one of the guys was like,
and when I say there, I mean like we were basically on a Zoom on a phone. It's not like we were.
Yeah, we were. I just don't remember who was on it. Like I was so like early postpartum. This was 2 years ago, like right after my son was born. And we were
actually sitting next to each other. You don't remember? No, we were like on a Zoom with a bunch of people. Okay, continue.
I believe that. Okay, yeah, I remember I drafted Christian, and people were like, "Why did you draft him?" And I'm like, "Because he's gonna be good." Like
I think I drafted Augie.
Yeah, I was like, this is 2 years ago. So I was like, I drafted him first. They're like, why did you draft him first? I'm like, because he's going to be a good player. I'm like, he's going to be great. Like he might, this was, like right after he was on Challenger maybe. And I'm like, he's going to be great. Like you're going to want him on your team. And, right. I think that was so, like he has certainly grown into his own, and like a prime example of somebody who has a lot of potential and, needs that development time for sure. I'm excited to see, but I'm also, like I said, I'm really hopeful that we're going to have some like big breakthrough stars this year. And, because it has been a couple years on both the men and the women that we've truly had somebody come in that kind of like moves the needle a bit.
So I think obviously like we're all talking about these top women and how expensive they're going to be and how people are going to go for them, of course. But how much, like, do you think people are going to pay like a lot of money for Chris Hayworth? Like now that he can just play singles, I'm just wondering, like, do you think these teams are gonna pay up? If you're thinking Brooklyn, for example, I mean, I don't know why they got rid of Deckel, but like if I'm Brooklyn and I have my team from last year, I might keep my team from last year and pay a lot of money for the number one singles player in the world.
Yeah, I think it definitely depends on the team and how close they are to some of these other teams. If you're never going to make it to a Dream Breaker, do you care? Does it matter? But like I think it's totally dependent on that. I could imagine the Shock paying for Chris because Gabe and Hayden are not exactly like top 10 singles players. They don't play singles. Like they can hold their own, but like, when push comes to shove, like, are they who you want, or are they going to be able to beat, Ben Johns like in singles if they needed to, or like Will Howell, like, maybe a couple, maybe here and there, but like I could imagine that if that's a team that would, or the same with Dallas, like,
Dallas
JW.
would be very smart to get.
Yeah,
Well,
like
they
they're
have
just
football
not
back.
like JW used to be the number one singles player and he just hasn't played singles. Like I still think I would keep him on the court, but Augie is not really a singles player either. And they both like can hold their own and they both have beaten the best of the best in MLP. But like, yeah, like if you want those 4 points, but also like I just like personally, I think like, oh my God, can you imagine I'm only coming in for 4 points? Like the pressure that
It'd be
like
hard.
Chris or somebody, that would be just like, that would be like wild pressure.
Yeah. So the fives, let's say the fives, they don't get these other women. They were dropping Megan and Mari to essentially like probably pick one of them back up or another. Like they pick Megan back up for a lower price. Let's say that's been their strategy this whole time. Then they draft one of these up and coming singles female stars. Now Megan doesn't have to play singles. And that's really all they need to put themselves over the hump, essentially. That's a cheaper option for them, right? Let's get Megan for a lower price. And then we take all of the money we have to get a female singles player. And now we're unbeatable. But is money an issue for some of these teams? Like I'm saying, that's a more affordable option. But like, do they care? Like,
yeah, I don't know. Like they've had like caps, right? Previously, is there even I don't even know. Like, is there a cap this year?
Cap. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, because like previously it was like, oh, they had X dollars to spend, in my opinion, it kind of seems like monopoly money, but like, maybe it's not. But yeah, like I don't know, like if they care, like if like money is not an option. I'm sure they have like a dollar number head that they're like, we're not spending over this or something.
They have to put that rule in place. They have to make a cap or we will not have a league. If you tell a team spend as much money as you want, then yeah, they go out and they bid out of this world for Anna Bright and now they don't lose. And then none of the other teams win. And then what are we even doing here? Like you have to have a cap. You just do.
I mean, it's certainly like, I'm sure that like they're going to have two strategies, right? Kind of, option A is they get a Jorja and Anna, something like that. And, then it's in theory, they're going to win every time, but maybe not. But like they should win every single time. Like I think the mix is still can be, I think actually men's can be a little bit sus on that side sometimes. On like the fives, if I'm thinking the fives.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure. Like an option B is obviously what you're saying and getting like a single specialist. And I would like Noe he's playing very well in singles right now as well.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't hurt to even just have a guy and a girl just in case, especially because Will's hurt right now. Like who knows how that's gonna how his injury will continue to trend, and just to have the options. I'm sure that they have these like kind of considerations in mind. And, I'm sure that Leigh Waters is in Ryan's ear, so to speak, giving all of the feedback. And that's also the beauty of being in South Florida, right? Is that they're really like, they have like a front row seat to all of the
can see
players coming up and coming, right?
Okay, so we're just gonna have to wait and find out. Essentially, like we don't know anything. I think in the next week, trades are gonna happen, and then we'll see what happens with the draft. I'm just gonna be at the edge of my seat. But before we wrap up, I guess I know you're working on a new project. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. So I am building an app called Aithlete. It's AI athlete, basically. And it's going to have two functions or two features for it. So one is like, I guess maybe to start, my background is in data and AI technology. So like if you don't know me from Pickleball, probably don't know me from technology, but I work in SaaS industry in New York City. And I build data and AI products, and that's kind of like my techie background. And so I'm kind of bridging those skills, like, or my passions for data and technology with Pickleball right now, and bringing Aithlete. And so the first part of Aithlete is smart coaching. So bringing together the best of the best like voices in Pickleball, the top pros, the top coaches, to create like a coach that can be with you whenever you want. And it'll be an app format. And so you can create lesson plans, you can create drill plans if you want, but you can also just chat through the app and you'll get video recommendations. You'll get you're like, oh, this happened in a match, this point, like, and they'll help you break it down, help you figure out exactly like, what can you do differently or what could you have done differently next time? And just like, use it to improve your own pickleball performance. Right now, there's a lot of like videos out there, but you have to know you have to know what to do. You have to know what you need to know to kind of take advantage of that. The idea here is to break down that barrier. So now it's like, I'm just going to chat and I'm just going to like talk to somebody about what I need to do, but it's all from the voices of the top pros and top players in pickleball. And so that's the smart coach portion. The other portion is community. So what I see in pickleball, at least in my area, it is so hard to find people to play pickleball with. It is so hard to find people in your level. It is so hard to like talk about pickleball. When I started playing pickleball in 2017, the way you communicated was Facebook. Like that was the cream of the crop. Like you joined, it was the pickleball forum at the time. This was like pre the kitchen. And, you taught, if you wanted to like find a court somewhere, you would be like, I'm going to be in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, like help me find pickleball there, And to be honest with you, that hasn't quite changed too drastically in the, almost 9 years that I have been playing pickleball. And so my goal here is to take away that barrier, to help you find courts, to help you talk about pickleball, to help you share your love of the game, to help you track it. So if you have an Apple Watch or a Whoop or something, you can like track your playing, you can get analytics behind like being on court, not like insight into how many forehands you missed, but like, how
Can you send a video? Like if I sent a video of a point. So hypothetically, let's say you're in an argument with your partner. And they're like, that was my ball. And you're like, no, that was my ball. Can you send the video and the app is going to tell me whose ball it was?
Yes. So not in the first iteration, but by the end of the year, you will be able to send in short form videos and be like, hey, like I keep popping my forehand up. What is going on? And it'll be like, hey, you are leaning backwards, hitting your forehand. You need to step forward, or, your paddle face is open, or you're hitting with an Eastern grip. Like, so it is designed to help you to like get coaching on the go, because right now coaching is expensive, but it's also super limited. Like, we're still a new sport. Like who do you go to get coaching from? There's just like, there's a lot of coaches, but maybe the quality is very widespread.
Especially in different areas. Like in LA, there's so many amazing coaches.
100%.
But I know that if I went to somewhere else, it's harder to get better if you don't have this is definitely an app that will be really necessary in a lot of different places. And I feel like we're really spoiled here because there's like a million coaches I could go to, but I know that if like where my sister plays in Delaware, there's not. Like, yeah, maybe if you're in Florida, there's all these people. Maybe if you're in Arizona, there's all these people, but like there's definitely not all these people in other places where people are starting to play a lot.
No, for sure. And the other thing is that it is expensive. Like even if you have even if there's a lot of coaches where you live, like, the average age of players in pickleball in the United States right now, it's under 32 years old. Like I don't know very many 32-year-olds or 30-year-olds that can afford $150 pickleball lessons regularly.
It's crazy.
And so, my goal here is to
like I did.
What was that?
You got to just sneakily make friends with them. And then you're like, oh, I just have like a really quick question about pickleball. Will you watch this entire game and please tell me everything I did wrong and how I can get better? That's the key. That's either get an AI app or like use people. Those are your two options.
Yeah, no. So exactly. Like, and so, my goal here is to make coaching and pickleball like accessible to the masses. Like the goal for the app is for it to cost like $10 like a month, make it something that is affordable for people. And I'll say the community features are going to be free. So the community will be completely free. You can have an account, you can add friends, talk to people, find other people, chat within the app, do all those things. All that's going to be completely free. The Smart Coach will be a paid feature, but it will start off we're going to launch in May. And once we launch, it'll be free for a few months. So you can try it out and test it and give me all the feedback and tell me, all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so that way we can make it even better. And that way, will hopefully be creating a product that is, super necessary and helpful for the pickleball community.
Already talk to ChatGPT all the time, like we're friends. So now you're going to make it pickleball. It's going to be hard for me. I'm going to be talking to it all the time. I already know. Literally, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll be like, hey, what should I do today to make my life better? Or like knowing my goals. What are 3 things? I'm crazy. So now it's going to be pickleball. It's going to be kind of bad.
So that's like hopefully the goal for people
so
is like, because you can talk to ChatGPT about pickleball right now, but the quality is a little bit sus. Yeah, it's a bit sus. And so now this will be, you'll have some ChatGPT aspects or similarities, but it'll definitely be enhanced in pickleball specific, but it'll also be all of, data trained from pros and coaches that you already know and love, especially if you are obsessed with pickleball listening to this podcast. This will be for you.
Perfect. Exactly. Except all my like coach friends who are listening are going to be like, maybe it'll make them lower their prices. I don't know.
Well, the goal here is also to help coaches too. So it'll be for individuals and coaches.
They can,
so if you're a coach,
better coaches.
Yeah. So it's like, as a coach, a lot of times you get certified and then there's nothing else after that. Right. So it's like,
totally.
So now you can have a chat about if you're my coach, you could have a chat about Maggie. I'd be like, Maggie, we're working on her backhand. Like this is going on. Like here's a video. This is, and you can be like, that'll help you to like figure out how to like teach that backhand. Or it's like, oh, I have a group of 4 and they want to work on transition zone, whatever. And it's like, oh, well, here's some drills and here's some like things that you can think about and talk about. And so hoping that this is not just an app for individuals, but like it can help get those coaches better. Because also I will say that like this is not a substitute for having like a person as a coach, or a person to help you improve in pickleball, but it is to be an added like benefit. And like if you can't afford a coach, like or you don't want to coach or you don't have the time, like this is something that'll be like help you to get better regardless, or to be that resource that maybe you don't have right now.
Or you need constant attention.
That's me.
Like every single second you can't like be texting your coach every day and be like, what about this? And they're like, I gave you 1 lesson 2 months ago. Stop texting me. You can just ask them everything they want. Okay. So how do we find out when this app is launching? Like how are we going to hear about it?
Yeah. So I'll definitely be talking about it for sure. We still don't have we don't have an Instagram started yet, but I do have I have like an MVP that's live right now. The link is a little bit crazy. So Jane, I'll send you the link if you want to share it in the description. Yeah. And if you go to that, you could definitely get on the wait list to hear more about our initial like full release, but it will be aiathlete.io is going to be the
wow, very smart that you made it that and not pickleball related, because now you can do other sports too.
Yes, 100%. The goal is not to have it be just pickleball. Long term, we want it to be all racket sports, because the challenges that I see in pickleball are similar to the things that I've seen in tennis throughout my entire career. I play platform tennis and I play padel here on the East Coast. And so these are all things that we see in all these racket sports. And so I'm hoping to help solve those issues.
That's awesome. And people can find you on X.
Yes.
Where can people find you for your genius insights into pro pickleball?
Yeah. So if you want to follow me on X, please follow me there. It's Maggie May Rem is my like username. You can also find me on Instagram. My public Instagram is Maggie-RC. So, or _RC. So find me there, and I'll be talking about Aithlete there a lot. Cool. And like look me up on LinkedIn if you're a big data nerd as well. And you can always add me on LinkedIn because I'd love to talk about data and AI there too.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity to get to chat with pickleball and with you.